Welcome back to V-World. Today is Tuesday, where we look at all things trending up in the Pokemon TCG. Well, not all things. There's only so much time. In fact, I'm only looking at one sealed product, and the rest are special illustration rares because something is happening in the Pokemon market today. That special illustration rares deserve a special snapshot of what's going on today. Before we jump into that, let's take a quick look at this. I'm looking to get 4,000 subscribers on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe for your chance to be a part of it and win, possibly, the Pokemon poster collection, Pokemon 151 poster collection, 2 3-pack blisters from Surging Sparks, and 5 Pokemon mystery card lots. Sad to say that last mystery pack did not meet the threshold of likes that we needed, so we'll have to move that to another video. Maybe I'll soften it a little bit and not have such high expectations for this channel, because apparently 150 likes is a little too much to ask, and that's fair. If we're not there, we're not there. So we'll work our way up. We'll get to that 4,000 subscribers. We'll be able to give stuff away and be a part of it. Take that extra step. Comment on this video here. That's the one where you're officially entered for that giveaway I'm describing with the 151 poster collection. But for today, let's dive in. Surging Sparks booster box. This is the only one. This is the only sealed product that I brought out to say it is still climbing, and climbing pretty well. My goodness. $220 is the market value on this, and in the past month it looks a little jagged, but definitely the trend is up in the past 3 here. Okay, 120. Looking back, I mean, this is well before release, but these are early pre-sales and things going on. So 215 is what it's saying right now. 220 on the market. A lot are still listed, and a lot are being sold. I mean, a lot are being sold. 8,257 sold on here so far. This is kind of the price point right now. It's been floating around that 220, depending on sites you find it, if it's available. 220, 225, somewhere in there. 215 for a little while, but it came up quick. And I don't think there's any reason it should go up or down much from here. I think this is going to stabilize. It's going to start leveling off. You can already see it happening where it's coming up, and it's just starting to try to level off a little bit. We'll see that price level out for a little while. Maybe with the release of the Journey Together, whatever the rocket set's going to be called, and whatever else 2025 has in store, we may see this come down a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be by much. I think we're going to be in such a Pokemon boom that this may level off at best, not because of the demand for Surging Sparks per se. However, the demand for Pokemon in 2025 is going to be pretty substantial. Not COVID pandemic, not 2021 levels of boom, but it's going to be pretty hot for a while here. And there's other signs pointing us in that direction that people are not wanting to miss out on such beautiful illustrations that have come out in the special illustration rare category. Look at this Mew EX from Paldean Fates. Not hard to find Paldean Fates. It's been on a pretty steady climb into that 100, 150, 200, 300. What is going on? It's come back down a little bit, but this has been a pretty big climb over time here and pretty rapid. I mean, we're talking October to December, 3 months to get us up from what was sub 100 to, peaking at 300. That's pretty crazy. So keep an eye out for this card. This might be a little bit of a recovery. We're not going to see it at a $100 card anytime soon, if ever, again. But it may come down and settle back down to 200. I could see that being a possibility after this boom cools off a little bit. People have their focus shift elsewhere. It's hard to commit that kind of price into one card, let alone all the other cards we're looking at today. So let's speed this up and take a look because the trends are similar. Charizard EX out of Scarlet Violet 151. Maybe you can pull it out of that giveaway I'm doing. Link in the description below. Make sure you take a look. But been on a pretty big climb here. We had a peak in October. We came down a little bit, and now we've outgrown it even further at 218 on that Charizard. Another Charizard because Charizard's hot. Charizard's breathing fire, not just in the character, but in reality with these cards, it's been on fire here. Charizard EX out of Paldean Fates. The set's been blown up. Nobody wants to miss out on this Charizard because if the Mew blew up, maybe Charizard's going to do the same thing, and whether that's FOMO or panic or whatever, sell-offs happening massively, it's following the trend anyways. $162 priced me out, that's for sure. Not going to be able to be a part of that one. Raging Bolt EX, Temporal Forces is kind of stepping up out of nowhere. I think people kind of wrote this set off for a while, and now we're seeing not just the playability of Raging Bolt, but the artwork of some of these Temporal Forces cards coming in and being a little bit more sought after. And it could just be like we saw in that May boom with the alt arts, that where do you go next? What's the next card? If you get priced out, where do you go? And I think this is starting to hit into that category, which is why it's peaking over that $100, getting close to 110. And same here for things like Venusaur. I think we showed the Blastoise in a couple here. Similar story where you don't want to miss out on the set as a whole. You don't want to miss out on the big chases. So where do you go next? If you can't do the Charizard, well, put some of your collection dollars into Venusaur, coming out at $77. The Iron Crown Temporal Forces, same story. Here we go. Big peak all of a sudden. And was that just based off of our little 10% from TCG Player? Well, here specifically, yeah, that might be because of that big sell-off of 47 there when the previous, few days was only 5, and then following was only 7. Like, not much going on, not a lot of movement, but that big spike drove the price up, and then a few purchases, a few sales, keep that price holding on, and now we see it just barely starting to level off. Maybe this one doesn't have the legs to go much further on that, but Blastoise, like I mentioned, $85, geez, $75, that's more realistic. It's interesting that Venusaur has taken the lead, not so much if you've been paying attention, but when you just, let me go back, buy artwork, there's so much more to appreciate out of the Venusaur artwork, and how much effort was put into this, how beautiful it is, and how well it goes into the storyline of Bulbasaur through its evolutions, where Squirtle to Blastoise is great, but I felt like this was a little bit simplistic, a little bit dull. Don't bash it, everybody's entitled to their opinion, that's okay. And once I put that out there several weeks ago now, I had sent many comments saying, yeah, I think you're right. I think Charizard's good, I think Venusaur's good, I think Blastoise just fell a little bit short, and that's okay. Still a cool Pokemon, still a really cool artwork for it. Of the special illustration rares, the only one I have 2 of, but that was somewhat accidental. So out of this set at least. So whatever. But the price being usurped by Venusaur was just an interesting story, because for a long while that was not the case. Walking Wake out of Temporal Forces. This one's hitting the mark a lot. Really taking off in these latter days here. Just $67 here on this one. And actually, what's great to see at this price point, yes, it's a lot of money to be putting into one card. However, you're under the booster box prices, but well under the booster box prices. Take this Charizard at $62. Nice little peak, a little recovery, but not by much. This one here is half of what a booster box is going for. So are you going to pull in a booster box? You might. I didn't. But the pull rates are good in Obsidian Flames, so a lot of people were sitting on this thing around $35, $40 for a long time, thinking it's not worth much. I picked mine up at $40, and then the price started going down. I thought, oh man, I made a bad decision. And of course, like most things in life, not just in the hobby, but most things in life, time will heal all things, and we see the price climbing yet again. Gardevoir EX out of Paldean Fates. There's a trend of these few sets that seem to be hitting the marks here. Temporal Forces 151, Paldean Fates, and we're going to have, I think, a couple more in here to speak of, but a trend of special illustration rares just this era really taking off, and I think it's because not that Sword and Shield is no good, it's just so unobtainable for most people that people are moving on. And it's creating a shift in the market, moving into this era here of the Scarlet and Violet era, getting a little bit more attention than it otherwise would have at the time of release. Here we had about $65 on that one. Roaring Moon, Paradox Rift. This one was pretty hot for a minute there. When it first came out, I think we had some pretty high prices. Yeah, back almost $90. Came way down, and just recently, if we take this little snapshot of 3 months, it's on the climb again. So perspective is everything. If you want to stretch it out, this is not doing that much better. If you take it back to a year, this is a big loss, right? But on recent trends, and that's what we're looking at for Tuesday trends, the trend is up on this card. You might want to be looking at it if it's something that's been on your radar for a while. It might be a good time to get it before it goes a little bit too far. I don't think coming down is really in the future. Zapdos EX out of Scarlet and Violet 151. We're hitting almost $60, $56 looks like here. And just a little peek over the top that, are we going to move into recovery? Are we leveling off? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't think this one really needs to be pushing too much further than $60, given the rest of the set. At this point in time, I think it's a good one to be holding there, but over time, all of these will probably grow a little bit more, and then the market will eventually decide. I mean, you don't know for years and years what really is going to happen. We're seeing vintage starting to pop up a little bit in certain areas, so not availability, but in price. So, you know, anything can happen, and the market's always changing. It's always trending up or down, and things just fit into those categories as we go. Gouging Fire, Temporal Forces, again, on the radar today. This one's shooting up a little bit here. Sub $60 here. We're at 52, 53. Okay, fine. We almost got to 55 bucks not too long ago here. But again, we're coming off this little boom. A lot of things went to a recovery, but several have just gone on a ladder upward, and this is one of them climbing in that same direction. 151 again with the Alakazam EX. Here we are, nice jagged line, but a stair step in the right same direction here. I don't know if it's the right direction, depending on where you're at of obtaining it. This is the same trend line we've been seeing across the board, but a little bit more steady. So even with that little sell-off for the Black Friday sales, it's just been on point here. If you average things out, it's almost a straight line going, bringing it at $47 for the market price for that one. Gardevoir EX, Scarlet and Violet making a few of the slots here towards the end of our video, because I think Scarlet and Violet will have its day. It hasn't yet, although it's hard to find a box for $100 for a booster box, or 105 or 110. I think what I've been seeing is about 115, 120 if you're looking for it. Not easily obtainable. I mean, okay, it is easily obtainable if you want to pay for it, but if you're going to move your collection dollars in that direction, how much further do you need to go for something like Surging Sparks that might have a better payoff long term? I don't know. However, when this thing got down to like $85, $90 a box, I went and picked up a couple, which it's really, really hard to plan for that. And that's maybe a small word of advice. If you're going to be collecting on investments as pieces for long term, if you're looking at things after a couple years, then you want to see where it's going. There's a cycle that tends to come out. If you want to, I don't know if this is originally with him, but Twice Baked Jake, great channel on YouTube, he has pointed out many times that after 2 years, that's really when things make their decision of either being a set that's going to be in the long haul of slow growth, or it's going to just level off and be done from that point on till something happens like a major boom, you know, something that we might be in and headed for now. So Scarlet and Violet will be following the same trend as the Sword and Shield base. It'll be following the same trend as the Sun and Moon base. These base sets, not always well received as they transition into a new era, not a big grower for a long time, and then eventually something happens where things take off, and that includes the cards that started it all for special illustration rares. Every new era comes with a new starting set, and it sets a lot of trends. While the pull rates were really good in the beginning of Scarlet and Violet base, and over time people got bored of it and moved on, and then the next set and the next set and the new shiny object, right? Got everybody excited to move in that direction. We're kind of going back and seeing an appreciation on the sets like this and earlier ones. I mean, not just this. Take a look at Temporal Forces. That's been kind of getting some love today. So Paradox Rift has come up a few times. Altaria EX coming in at $33. A good rise, a little level off here, but maybe we're going to be stabilizing there at that sub 35 price point. We have Iron Valiant, again, Paradox Rift, hitting the mark here. Really complex artwork, actually. I really like the way this one lays out. A lot of different cameos from different Pokemon here. Beautiful sunset, great colors, and not even a horribly high price here. So pretty reasonable for such a cool special illustration rare. And that's after this level of almost $20 for a long while. Kind of sad I didn't jump on it when I had that chance. And at that point, I am the kind of person that looks at this and goes, it's okay. I think I would have enjoyed it if I picked it up at 20. I wasn't in the market at the time, and I've missed my mark for it. And I'm okay. I can accept that and move on. When you start seeing that Greninja just be totally out of reach, the Pikachu EX be out of reach, you kind of start to accept these little ones that it's like, what's really important in my collection? What do I really want to have? So for me, I try to master certain sets that I really enjoy and really want to go after and chase that down and be monitoring those a little bit more prevalently. If I was looking to master Paradox Rift, I probably would have been on top of this set a little bit more so and maybe picked it up at a better day and time. But maybe you are one of those people who want to have certain Pokemon, certain level of rarity, special illustration rare, and you're trying to collect them all. I don't know. Maybe you have a master set and Paradox Rift is one of them, and this one has been flying under your radar, but now it's time, as it's climbing up or about to level off and we get to a more stable area, something you're watching. It's just, this is all about showing my journey and hopefully helping you in yours. And I love the fact that we have some feedback back and forth in those comments down below, just explaining our journeys to one another. Some of you are just like diehard collectors that I can't even compete with, and I thought I was doing some crazy things at times. Goldingo here, Goldango. I don't know I can't pronounce anything, and everybody's made that apparent in the comments. $26 here. This one's been coming up a little bit here. I think I picked it up at about $26, $28, so I must have picked it up a long while ago. Did we have some? Okay, we were back up a little bit higher here. We got some recovery to go to get back to that point, but here we are, kind of at a reasonable price in the 3 months that it's on a growth trend here. And while it looks like that little tail might be some sort of recovery, well, it's probably not going to go down anytime soon, and it may just start climbing back up again. Pretty cool artwork, and I think there's one that lines up with it to go underneath as far as an illustration rare. Koraidon from Scarlet and Violet base. Again, this one, for such a mid-price point on the special illustration rares, I think is a pretty cool artwork, and it's had some growth lately here as of late. You could have picked this up at $10. Wow, not too long ago. The set's been out a while. Those $10 are low. Was pretty close here. So those earlier days a year ago here had it close to that $10 range pretty consistently. Some little spikes up and everything, but here, even at the high point back in July, which was kind of following after that May boom, where do we go next? And this kind of hitting that trend. $14 wasn't too bad, but we're almost getting close to that, about $13 on this. So we're kind of getting to that recovery to moving back into this one. Wu Chen here out of Paldea Evolved. Some of the lesser special illustration rares are getting some love. Some of the lesser illustration rares are getting some love because of that Magikarp taking the cake out of it here, taking the top tier. I wanted to include this because we can kind of look at how far down it was just 3 months ago at $7.50. Little peak, kind of some recovery here, a little bit up. We got a little growth, up and down, and now we're coming down again. Are we coming down again, or is this a trend upward over time? It's kind of hard to tell. You kind of got to start stretching it out and see what's going on, and lo and behold, you see it's been trending upward. Again, perspective is everything. If we look at the 3 months, you can go, we might be in a good thing here. If it's something that you're looking at, I would look at it that way and say, hey, it's coming into a little bit of a recovery. Maybe it's time to keep it on the radar, look for a day. If it's good price, might be the pickup point. And then you look at the past year, you might see this could be the time. This could be the pickup point before we grow any further than that. So perspective is everything. It always is. And time heals things. We're learning all sorts of life lessons here. With age definitely comes wisdom. And if it's not, at least it looks right with the gray. It's all fake, I'm sure. No, Paldean Fates. Here we go. Another one. Clive. One that people thought was cool at first, and then they just threw it away real quick because it was apparently an easier pull for the special illustration rares, at least in comparison. So the price kind of tanked on it. But we do have a little bit of growth on it as of late. So maybe this is one to pick up. I think it was floating around like $10, $12 for a while. And I've been wanting to get it just because I'm not really going after Paldean Fates, but if I can get good pickups on the shinies or the subset within there, just all the secret rares and everything, I'd like to kind of pick them up a little bit here and there as I go, just to add to it. And then maybe one day I can turn around and go, okay, let's get the last few and make it a master set. But I'm not really doing it with any super direction. I don't know. It's kind of a messy set for me in my brain. But at $6.50, $6.75, I guess, not a bad pickup to be maybe considering that one. Scarlet Violet base, yet again, here on Penny. Cool artwork, really nice mood with the lighting and everything here, and sub $10. Oh my gosh, it's $5.72. That's not bad, and this has been a pretty decent little growth over the past little bit here because it was much higher. We've been in recovery, and now we're coming back up again. So if you thought you missed your chance at $4.50 or something, you're not that far off. I mean, this might be a good pickup here before we get up to the $6, $7 mark for the price of the card. That'd be worth doing. Now, if it were me, Scarlet and Violet base had such good pull rates, it'd probably be fun to just open some and see if you can get a couple of these special illustration rares. Although, the illustration rares do not come that frequently. Special illustration rares come even less frequently. So, hedge your bets. 2 packs, or pick up the special illustration rare and be done with it. That's where you're at. It's, obvious. Cost-effective wise, singles are going to be the way to go. Great Tusk, Scarlet and Violet base, finishing us out today. Same story. Would you rather go buy a pack or get a couple packs that are going to cost you $6, $7, $8, something like that, or spend the $6 and get the card you want? Really cool artwork for being such a low price point on a special illustration rare. There's no lower price point than free. Pokemon 151 poster collection going out to 1 lucky subscriber, 2 3-pack blisters of Surging Sparks to 2 additional winners, and 5 Pokemon mystery card lots. Oh man, we've talked about a lot. The market's moving. So best of luck to you on the things you're watching. Is there anything you're looking at specifically that I'm not covering very well in these videos? Any cards on your radar? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. But as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You can hit the bell because I post 7 days a week. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.